I feel like one of the questions that I get asked kind of a lot is how long should you stay in a job? Let's just talk through the options. How long do you actually stay at a job? Let's go. Okay, the first thing we need to think about is people, especially older generations, I'll say people like my grandparents' age, they would stay in a job and they would literally work in that job for 20 years. Like I'm pretty sure my grandma spent like 50 years working at her company and had no issues. Today, things move a lot faster. They move a lot faster in terms of management. Management comes in, management leaves. It's a lot quicker. Turnover is a lot faster. Employee learning is a lot faster. Things just move a lot faster. The job that you get hired into is usually not the same job that you have 6 years or 6 months down the road. And so then you start to wonder, okay, if I've been at this job for 6 months, this isn't what I expected it to be. Now what do I do? And maybe you think about at that point you're leaving because you said, well, the job I thought it was isn't what I thought it was, and maybe I'm not interested anymore, or whatever. So that's kind of when you start to question things. The reason people ask this question, the reason that this question comes up as how long should I stay at a job, is not because they know how long people have stayed at jobs, but the big question is, what's the impact of job hopping on my future career prospects? So as an example, if you have gotten a job, you were there for 3 months, you've got another job, you're there for 3 months, you got another job, you're there for 3 months. By the time you get down the road, the next employer is going to say, why have you been at these jobs for so little time? And unless it was something where you got laid off or you knew that the positions were temporary, you don't really have an explanation other than I just didn't like it. So if that's your response, the new employer is going to look at you and say, maybe I don't want to hire you because you don't stay with companies long enough. It just kind of depends. So in terms of job hopping, it is a real thing. There is a real impact on your resume, but I would just kind of consider what are the timing of it is fluid depending on your industry, depending on your experience within that company, things like that. Always think about a year, give or take 3 months, depending on how comfortable you are there. And what you could do is once you get to that year mark, start applying for jobs. And by the time you get a new job, you might be there for 2 years. Okay, so let's talk quickly about what are some factors that are going to be you take into consideration whether you want to stay or whether you want to go. First is personal growth. Are you capable of learning in your current role? If you've been in a company for 3 months, 6 months, the answer to that question is, I have a lot to learn still from this company. Even if everything is on fire and the people suck and there's no promotion material for you, there's still a lot that you can learn. I know a lot of the bad companies that I've worked for, I have learned so much. It sucks while it's happening, but when you look back and you're like, oh, actually, I learned a lot of what I don't want, or I learned a lot about how to navigate these kind of situations that really only exist in a dysfunctional organization. The second thing is job satisfaction. Can I find something in this role to be excited about? It doesn't have to be that you go into work and every single day you're excited to work. It could just be, I'm really excited about one project that I get to own, or it could be one collaboration that I have with somebody that I really am excited about. I think if you can find one thing that is satisfying to you in that role, I think it'll allow you to stay at a job a little bit longer and maybe not feel like you have to jump immediately if you don't like what you're doing. And the third thing is, what are the future opportunities for you? Not necessarily at the company you're at, although you could consider that. What are your future opportunities if you left today versus if you left in a year? So it could be the exact same. It could be if I left today, I would have the same amount of opportunities if I did a year from now. Or it could be something where it's, oh, if I stay a little bit longer, then my next job could be a promotion, or my next job could be a title change, or my next job could be something, a managerial role or something like that. So future opportunities, you can weigh into it too. If it's something that you feel like if you left today, the experiences and the positions would be exactly the same versus if you left in a year or even 2 years, it could be something where you would get more pay raise, or you would get a higher title, or you would get to manage a team. Whatever your aspirations are, I would look at it through the lens of what future opportunities can you get if you decide to stay a little bit longer. And then the final question, when is the right time to jump? When is the right time to leave your company? These are a few categories where I would say it's a good time to leave, and at least plan your exit out of the company. The first thing is burnout. If you are feeling burned out for longer than 3 months, I would say, because burnout is very typical, unfortunately, it's very common. But if it's something where you've been burned out for 9 months and there's no end in sight, I would say, yeah, start finding a road out of that company, or start finding an exit strategy. The second thing is there's no room for growth. So if you're in your company, no matter how long you stay, there's no future opportunities. If you left today, if you left a year from now, the options would be exactly the same. I would say it's okay for you to start planning your exit a little bit sooner. Number 3 is a lack of challenge. If you're in your company and you know that you're overqualified, it's not a bad idea to start looking at other companies and look for a promotion. Number 4, negative work environment. If you go to work, and this is something that actually happened to me, is I would get stomach ulcers because I was so stressed about going into my job and having to deal with the negativity that was in this company. And if that's your situation, get out. Find an out that you can do. There's better companies out there. There's better teams out there. And it doesn't have to be at the expense of your health or your physical health or your mental health. And the 5th thing is changing in priorities. So if you have a child as an example, or if you just get married and you want to move somewhere, all of these things, if there's a change in priorities, those are always a pass, if you would call it that, to getting a new job and maybe being job hopping within a year, shorter than a year. So those are easy ways to kind of identify if now is the right time for you to jump. And if you are experiencing burnout or you feel like you just have way too much going on, check out this video that I made about how to tell your boss that you're overworked. And with that, I will see you in the next one.